A PCB is made of two components, the substrate and the copper foil. The substrate is a rigid insulating material. The copper foil lamination on the substrate is few microns thick. PCB substrates are typically composites. Composites are materials made from two or more materials with significantly different properties. For example, RCC, reinforced cement concrete, is a composite of steel and concrete. In PCBs, paper phenolic is a composite of paper and phenolic resins. Glass epoxy is a composite of fiberglass and epoxy resin. Another composite is cotton paper and epoxy. For PCB design, the substrate properties are important. Electrical properties, such as insulation resistance, surface resistivity. Physical properties, such as flexural strength, water absorption. Thermal properties, such as specific heat, thermal conductivity. And chemical properties, such as effect of chemicals. The choice of substrate depends on the application, where PCB will be used, and final cost of the product. Different standard laminates are: copper, laminated on substrate, is popularly known as PCB laminate. PCBs using paper phenolic laminates are brownish in appearance. Glass epoxy or fiberglass laminates appears as light yellow. They are rigid and can be machined. In products like digital cameras, space is restricted. A rigid flat PCB laminate cannot fit in. Instead, a flexible laminate is used. These are made of polyamide or polyester foil. These can be folded and inserted in available space. In some applications, heat is generated. This heat is to be taken to atmosphere as fast as possible. Hence, substrate with low thermal resistance is best suited. A ceramic core or metal core laminates are used. PCBs can also be classified based on the number of copper tracks layers. Single-sided PCBs have copper tracks only on one side. In double-sided PCBs, copper tracks are on both sides. But the sides are not electrically connected. Double-sided, with plated through-hole, PCBs have copper tracks on both sides. A plated through-hole, or a PTH, electrically connects both the sides. These are plated holes that connect copper tracks from one layer to other layers. Multi-layer PCBs are PCBs where many PTH boards press together. All layers are electrically connected and physically form one PCB. PCBs can be classified based on the thickness of the copper layer and substrate. The standard thicknesses of laminates and copper are shown on screen. These classifications are not applicable to flexible PCBs. Some applications, like computer motherboards, require short signal lengths. Some require high component density PCB. That is, more components in smaller area. PCBs of more than 2 copper layers are used. These are multi-layer PCBs. Some have more than 10 layers. Copper layers are separated by a substrate. Layers are connected to each other through a series of holes called vias. Vias are of 3 types: standard, blind, and buried. Standard vias go through the board and can connect any of the top, bottom, or inner layers. Blind vias go from the outside surface to one of the inner layers only. Buried vias only connect 2 or more inner layers. Hole is not visible from outside.